Welcome to the channel, and this is another part of the decade build series that I've been doing every Saturday. And today we are still in the 1900s, early 1900s, and today I'm going to be building a Dutch Colonial Revival home. And this home is a lot smaller than the Colonial Revival estate that I built last Saturday. You can check that out if you want to. I'll provide a link to that down below, as well as in the corner in the top right. So yeah, so the Dutch Colonial Revival style home, it's not really for actual Holland, and it's not really colonial either. The reason why it's called a Dutch Colonial home is because the Dutch colonists who kind of settled in lower New York and New Jersey, they were kind of famous for this type of house style. The most characteristic feature of this type of house is the gambrel roof, which is the roof that kind of goes from the front to the back, and it's actually the second floor inside of the roof. And the reason why they did this is because they wanted to evade the two-story tax. And which is hilarious because back then, and I don't know if this is still a thing, but basically a two-story home was taxed differently than a one-story home. So what they did was they figured out a way to put the second floor inside the roof, so it wasn't considered a two-story home, and it was just a 1.5 story. So I found that super interesting. So the Dutch Colonial Revival style, it has a gambrel roof with or without flared eaves, and it usually uses dormers, and it was built from about 1890 to 1930 in various forms and shapes and sizes. And yeah, so this type of home is popular in the Northeast, but it kind of shows up in several places across the US. And yeah, it's a pretty cozy home. I wanted to include just 2 bedrooms in this home. I tried to keep the cost down, but it's really hard to do when you're using all the Victorian items in the game. So in a 1900s kitchen, I was looking at one of the pictures that I grabbed for reference. You might have seen it in the last part, the last 1900s. But there's this like giant tank next to the sink area. So that's what I was trying to go for when you saw that big tank in the corner. I just ended up putting a pipe there in the corner. During this time, there was running water, but not for everyone. And also during this time, cars were, a kind of new thing. They were first being manufactured by Ford, and less than 8,000 cars, I think, existed in the US. So that's pretty crazy. So yeah, I was just putting a bunch of clutter. I imagine that this family can't afford a servant, so the mom does most of the cooking, and she loves to cook, so I tried to make the kitchen look as lived in as I could. So a couple more facts of the early 1900s. Pablo Picasso actually introduced Cubism in 1907, which was pretty radical because up until this point, there was just like classical paintings, or what we would consider classical, what they would consider traditional, I would assume. So that was kind of a shock to the art world when Picasso was like, hey, here's a new form of artwork, and it's super weird, but super cool. What else happened? Susan B. Anthony, she actually died in the early 1900s, 1906. She was a leader of the women's rights, civil and women's rights activist. That's what she was. Yeah, so I wanted to show you a few pictures of what a Dutch colonial home looked like, as well as some of the interiors. So this is an example of a kitchen in the 1900s. You might have seen it before. This picture is so gorgeous. It's an interior. And this is an example of the exterior and a woman in the kitchen. And this is one style of a Dutch colonial. And this is another style. So as you can see, they kind of vary depending on where they are, who built it. They were kind of customized in a way, depending on its location. Okay, so I had this crazy idea. In the early 1900s, gas lights were becoming more popular. And I really wanted a light that had those rounded glass, not bulbs, but just like glass coverings, because those were really popular during this time. And kind of carried through until the 1920s, well, the late 1920s. So these rounded gas lights were pretty popular. And yeah, so I had this crazy idea to try and make a ceiling light out of those sconces, but it didn't work very well. I ended up taking those out and just putting in a regular light. So yeah, this is the bathroom. And I love this new pedestal sink that came with the Vampire Stuff pack. If you want to download this, there are a few items from that pack in this build, so make sure you have that pack. Or you can just replace certain things that aren't there anymore. I love this new tile. Oh my gosh. Also, I don't really know what happened because it was completely okay, right, with the roof and everything, but I think when I was messing with the roof in the back, it replaced the wall on the inside. So unfortunately, I had to put white siding on the inside as well as the outside because I would rather it look better on the outside. So that's kind of why I did that. Going back to the first floor, I really, really wanted to do his and hers sitting areas or parlors in the front because that was still popular to do. And yeah, but it was a little bit small, so I ended up later extending the left side of the house, so there's a little more room in the women's parlor, but I think it turned out really nice. I was using like gender stereotypical colors in each room because that was very much utilized during this time. I love this new little rug that came with the Vampire Stuff pack. Like, you can make it as long or as short as you need it to be, and it's a perfect size no matter what. So I am in love with that little rug. I use it in the bathroom as well, I think. I actually really like the layout of this house. It's a lot more, I guess the flow of it is really nice. And I haven't really liked the layout of my other Victorian era builds very much, so it was kind of relaxing in a way. The roof on this house was actually really difficult because of the way that the roofs in The Sims, the way that they snap together and they don't really overlap very well if you place them in a certain way, so it's not really as excellent as I would want it to be, but I tried my best to make a gabled roof, and here I'm just putting some detailing in the flooring. Those actually all the floors in this house came from the new Vampire Stuff Pack. There's a ton of beautiful Victorian items. If you haven't gotten the pack already and you're kind of on the fence, I would highly recommend it if you like building, because there's so much in it that works for not only Victorian homes but just regular homes as well. Like if you're into making more traditional styled family homes or just things like that, then it's a really good pack to have. There's no piano in the dining room, which makes me sad. There was no room. There was no room to put a piano anywhere, so I just thought maybe a nice little traditional looking buffet table would be nice. And so because I couldn't put in a piano, I decided to put in the gramophone here in the dining room, because it's kind of a nice thing to listen to music while you're having dinner. So I always try to make sure to put one at least somewhere. Here, this little room is the study. It's so tiny, but I knew I had to put in a study because, all Victorian homes need some type of study or office area. And of course I had to put in a fireplace. So yeah, it's super tiny. And the desk that I use, I don't think is historically accurate, but there was really no space at all to put in a different type of desk. So I had to go with this one, but I figured it might be okay because it's pretty simple, so it could probably work for whatever. So this is the master bedroom, and this is a toddler room, and I really wanted to include a toddler room in this build because I haven't yet, and I thought it might be fun to include something that maybe, you're entering into the 1900s and you have a toddler and you're doing the decade challenge. So yeah, just wanted to do something a little different. And there you saw that I changed all the rooms upstairs to have the white siding, which I guess in a way makes sense because if you think about it, the second floor is technically in the roof, so I guess it's okay. I'm not too bothered by it anymore since I kind of thought of it that way. At least that's what makes me feel better about it. And it was a little dark, so I decided to knock out these walls, even though the roof kind of clips in a little bit. But that didn't really bother me too much either, because I would rather have some light in there than no light at all. So yeah, and here I'm just adding a high chair and some toddler toys. I think I added the potty later, like post-record, because I totally forgot about it. I think I forgot some other things too, but yeah, I really like how it came out. This rug is new, and I love it. I wanted to not just do a bunch of white stuff in this room, so I wanted to include some reds and some off-whites and grays because that's how the bed is and that's how the rug is. So yeah, and those lamps are new, which are amazing, and I thought maybe the bed could look a little more grand, so I added those curtains in above it. I was really undecided on what to do with the toddler bedroom because, there's not really a whole lot of traditional looking toddler stuff, at least not yet. So I just kind of did the best I could with what I had for the toddlers. Have to have a vanity for mama. I liked how the red wood kind of popped because of what was in the rug. It's just a little bit too, so it's very subtle. I ended up using another rug. I think it's the same rug that I used in the master, but it's just a different swatch. I loved all the little roses and the filigrees on the rug. I thought that would be perfect for like a little girl's room. So yeah, here I'm just adding some more lights up top. I thought I went kind of chandelier crazy, so I thought I'd use one of the new standing lamps that we got with the vampire stuff pack. I don't know, it just kind of fit really nice right there, and added a little extra light that we kind of needed because it was getting way too dark. Yeah, and here I'm just adding a little bit of landscaping. I don't know if it was fashionable or not to have, plants just growing up the side. But anyways, guys, I hope you liked it and enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!
Talk about your girls as in your city. I have one that you could never be. All day long she stands behind the counter, dealing out the things that are so sweet. She's as sweet as any of the candy, and her smiles would put you in a whirl. Every day at 4, I wait outside the door to walk home with that candy girl of mine. Eyes as dark as the chocolate creams, lips just as sweet as the jelly beans, just like a wafer of high degree. She's a nonpareil and she looks good to me. I'm her taffy, she's won my heart, and from my butterscotch I never will part. Like a nectarine, she comes in my dreams, that candy girl of mine. Margie, I idolize you, oh how I prize you, my little darling, sweeter than the honey that's made by the bee, fair as a blushing rose. Always we'll be together, I'll be your queen dove, and you'll be 18 in November, and I want you to remember, Margie, you're the girl I love. Eyes as dark as the chocolate creams, lips just as sweet as the jelly beans, just like a wafer of high degree. She's a nonpareil and she looks good to me. I'm her taffy, she's won my heart, and from my butterscotch I never will part. Like a nectarine, she comes in my dreams, that candy girl of mine.